good morning. It is Brian here. You are on the Art of Startup War. And all of you who join this podcast every single week, you know that the only thing we do is we take an entrepreneur, we take a company that we, Expert Dojo, have invested in, and then we tell you all about it. And we let you know why we invested in the company, why we love the entrepreneur so much, and we guide you through the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is really the difference between an entrepreneur who we believe can make it all the way to building a unicorn and all of the other entrepreneurs out there. And as any investor in the early stage space knows, if you choose the right company, you can get hundreds of times returns. Some people on some of the larger companies in the world have got thousands and tens of thousands of times returns, but you have to choose the right company. Now, we at Expert Dojo, being one of the largest investors in the United States and actually in many countries and continents around the world, we have a tremendous amount of experience. So, I am very pleased today to bring you Simon. I'm very pleased today to bring you CashBack. I think it's an awesome company that we've invested into, and we're going to go through that journey a little bit. So, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Looking forward to an interesting discussion. And I must commend you for doing what you guys are doing at Expert Dojo, presenting this platform, to get us to the next stage of being a unicorn. We are super, super duper excited and looking forward to an awesome chat.
Awesome.
Over to you, Brian. Yeah.
I love it. So take us back. So here's what we do on the hero's journey, right? We want to see what it was like at the very beginning. So take us back to those painful moments when you first came up with the idea, the genesis of the concept, and then how you then turned that into a practical product fit that actually using all of the tools you had at that time.
Awesome. Thanks. So if I was to think of a little bit about myself, so I am Kenyan, Simon Githinjingigi. I'm Kenyan, undergrad computer science. Grew up in humble beginnings. My mom was a teacher. My dad was in the construction sector. Normally budget to budget kind of play, but luckily I made it to the university. And now eventually into corporate, really went into KPMG and Bain. So I have some experience in the in the management consulting track and financial services with IFC and Barclays. But after a stint in corporate, of course, I always had a entrepreneurship bag. And during my cases at Bain, I used to do consumer good company cases. And by cases, I mean you're trying to solve a client's problem. And while we were doing those cases, especially in Africa, what we realized is that there's not as much data and insights to go by in delivering those solutions. And I saw this as a big opportunity, right? And then I started thinking, how can we get to that consumer, connect them to the consumer good company, and be able to get good insights at the same time helping out the consumer, right? So after my last stint in corporate, which was IFC in Washington, DC, I decided to jump into entrepreneurship. And the idea that we are building now, really, we help consumer good companies connect to consumers. And our tools, the main one, CashBackApp, really is a couponing app, and couponing is not as big in Africa, massive in the US. It should be big in Africa, mainly because we are trying to save money, but it's not as big. So the couponing app, CashBackApp, helps consumer good companies connect to the consumer directly, helps the consumer save money, at the same time helps the consumer good company and the brands really collect good insights and also grow their sales. So in terms of a nutshell, that's really the product. Before I jump into the nitty-gritties of how it was in the earlier days.
And just Simon, before you go there, so
mm-hmm.
you work and you went over it quickly, but I just want to draw a line under it for all of the investors listening.
Yeah,
When you're working for large consulting companies like Bain, these are not easy places to work for. And so you're there because you're at an extremely high level. You're being charged out at hundreds of dollars an hour to clients that desperately want to get access to the execution power that
yeah.
you already have. Was it something that you just continued to see while you were over in Bain and you were with the other companies that you're like, hang on a second? There's like this huge market. There's all these people shopping. We know throughout the rest of the world, cashback and rewards type environments for shopping have been around for a long time. Was it something that just smacked you in the face in the morning and you said, I have to do this? Or was it something that creeped upon you and you tried it out?
No, it's exactly that, right? So Bain is an awesome company, of course, delivering significant value. But while I was at Bain after 3 years, I was like, I can definitely, produce much more value as an entrepreneur. And I like the space that we were working on. And so it's a combination of the two that led me to jump into entrepreneurship. And correctly right. We have the skill set to execute, and entrepreneurship has that avenue to get us there. And in fact, you have more impact than in consulting, right? And you're working on. It's not like consulting. You're not working on real problems, but for entrepreneurship, like every day, like you are really solving a problem each and every day. And I chose now that life and providing that service to the same consumer good companies that I was serving as a management consultant.
Very good. And then how did
Mm.
you get started? So you said, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going all in. I see this massive continent, starting with one huge country, with the ability to be able to say to consumers, which, by the way, I mean, we'll get to kind of the market situation we're in today, whereby there's a recession coming on or in place in many places in the world. So there's never a time that people don't want to save money in shopping
Yeah.
for things, right? So it's great for a recession, but it's actually great all of the time.
All
People
the
like it.
time,
So
exactly.
talk to us about the implementation. You came up with the idea, you saw it, you knew it was a winner, you knew there wasn't much competition, you knew that time is
Hello.
not your friend and speed is your friend. So the quicker you can get this to market, the better. What did you do? And talk to us as well about the team that you put around you as well.
Sorry, Brian, I lost you a bit there. Sorry,
Uh,
could you
uh,
repeat the question?
Of
Yeah.
course. Talk to us a little bit about the team and talk to us a little bit about your go to market and how you actually went from being in a place that you had this great idea to start this cashback app that would actually give returns back to people who are shopping to actually doing it and
So yeah.
implementing it.
So first, let me go back to the product. So we did the product actually while I was still in employment, and we actually ran the pilot while I was coming off employment, and raised the pre-seed immediately after I left employment, and then after that, so I had employee number one, Oscar, who was in marketing. And during that journey, I also met my co-founder, Alan. Alan also has quite a wealth of operational experience from studied in the US, came back home, wanted to do the same thing, create a massive impact. He saw the problem was working on is massive, huge impact, so he joined the team, right? So Alan was by far the biggest, of course, addition to the team. He was number 3 in the team. And from then on, then we started building up the team. I have a technical background because my undergrad is computer science. So getting off a pilot was not as hard. Actually, now came building the tech team. And then Isaac joined us after actually building a team I must say, is the hardest piece of entrepreneurship,
It is the
especially at the
hardest
early
piece.
on. At
Hmm.
the early on, mainly because I mean you have an awesome idea for sure, but like the people, especially once you've worked in corporate, you assume the quality that or the skill set will be readily available, right? But then that's not the case, right? So you're always pitching. I'm pitching to the investor, I'm pitching to the customer, I'm pitching to the employee who should join with a promise of an upside. But eventually, Isaac joined, and then Gabriel, who complete now the tech team. and then the operational team were easier to source. But then that's the core team now, and then Sylvia joined the marketing team, and now now we have a bit of a brand out there. People know about us now. Recruiting is becoming slightly easier.
Yeah, because
So
you
that's
have
the
you
process.
have your brand. I just
Yeah.
want to take it back though before we go into the current scalable market fit. Right now I
Mhm.
want to look at the initial product fit. So you started to
Okay.
hire the team. You also came from a good background. So people are like, this guy's great. Like we're going to give him money. He's going to be in a position where he's going to be able to run a company very easily. He just needs to get it to that product market fit stage. So talk to us about when you built the product, it was in place, you put it out to the market, and you started to get reactions and feedback from the first customers that are on board, because that's what these investors want to know. Is they want to know, how do we know that the customers liked it? So talk to us about the challenges of getting it to market, and then the successes with the customers that proved to you that you had done the right thing.
Of course, of course. So once the product was done, so this is right. So you need consumers to bite into the value proposition, and you need the consumer good companies to present the offers, to create the value in the platform. So by far, that's always the biggest problem. What's the second biggest problem apart from building a team when you're younger? So of course, it's called the cold start problem. And after reading up, the best way to do it, of course, is doing it stepwise. But of course, you start with the demand first. So we went out, put it out into the market through Google Play. Did a bit of online marketing. We also wanted to get the initial partnerships in. So one of the biggest one, we got a retailer. We started with the tier 2 retailers because they were more interested. They didn't have a budget for innovation. They were more receptive. So it's really being more intentional about it. At what point of the market would the product be be welcomed, like early adopters? So that's where we went for tier 2 retailers to sort of test it out. And this one was more like, let us come to your store, let us sell to your customers that they're coming in, quite manual. Let us get initial feedback, what they're saying. After doing that, and when they started using the app, of course, the app is bolted with a lot of analytics under it, like which screen is being used the most, what product, and stuff like that.
And Simon, let me ask you. So,
Yeah.
when you went to these retailers, and I like how
Mhm.
you're saying it. Literally, you were doing this, ABC religion, right? It was like one church at a time. Every single one. You got to get your congregations and build them up. So when you went to these retailers and you said, "Have this app, Cashback app. It's going to be great." What did you say? Did you say you will sell more because people will be incentivized to continually and want to give loyalty to your retail location? Or was it that you will have a customer that will be happier? Like, what was your selling point? And then how on point were you with what you told them that they would feel afterwards?
Understood. Our main customer is a consumer good company, and the brands, they're the ones who are trying to get to the consumer. And we were using the initial process, the retailers, to get to that consumer. And our pitch to them then was that, you know what, uh, you don't have an app, right? Because these are tier 2 retailers. You don't have an app, right? You don't get as many offers from consumer good companies, right? So I'm presenting to you a technology solution that could plug you into your consumer base very quickly, give you quite a bit of engagement. You're on the consumer's phone. So that was a pitch in terms of engagement of the consumers, being technology fast, mobile fast, and with zero cost, right? In return, we are acquiring consumers, testing out the product, so that when we go to scale, right? When we go to scale, we know how to sell to that end consumer, which we are doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a good value proposition. And the end game, of course, retailers will become, they are still customers, because once we understand the consumer, then we can draw customers to their store. And really that was a pitch. And from then on, we got one retailer, second retailer. Then after we understood the consumer, actually, technically, we don't need the retailer, because what we do is that after you buy the product, you take a photo of your receipt. We do not integrate into the retail system. We use OCR to extract what is in the receipt and identify what is on offer and what is not. The consumer gets a cashback, the retailer gets the uplift, the consumer good gets the uplift too, and also both the retailer and the consumer good company can also enjoy the insights that we collect from the consumer good company. So that's the value proposition for all the three players.
It's a full life cycle. And so
Yeah.
you have something which is the nirvana in venture capital, and that is not disruption, but frictionless innovation. And frictionless innovation means that all of the stakeholders want this to happen. The brand wants to make sure that their product is showcased as much as possible and that they get the data back telling them what those consumer insights need to tell them. The retail institution makes sure they can see what's selling the best and what's in the most demand. What are the consumers thinking about as they're going shopping? And the shoppers themselves are getting the very best deals on the products that they really like. So it's a real win-win for absolutely everybody. So, okay, how did it start? Let's talk money.
Hang on, Brian. Before you go to the next question, I just wanted to add one thing that is super important when it comes to data, right? And insights. And that is what brands are doing and consumer good companies are doing now, right? It's sort of spray and pray kind of marketing, or rather,
absolutely.
You know what? I'll do this promo. I'll do this engagement, but really not. It's not targeted at all. It's super hard to do return on investment. And what we're trying to do is exactly that, which is basically build solutions that will save them money. You know, not to try to promote to everyone. Why don't you just promote to women, or promote to guys who buy diapers, or promote to juice drinkers? And by doing so, you're saving, you technically will be saving the money. So that is one aspect, I think, that would be super new in this market and being done by consumer good company. And that would be a really big win for the brands. Yeah.
I love that comment because really it's important that people don't listen to this and feel that this is a cashback offer platform. This is a data insights platform that allows for better decision making. And if you think about this problem for a second, everybody out there, and think about how you're treated by retail chains and how you're treated by brands, look, you get offered the same things that your husband gets offered, your wife gets offered, your daughter gets offered, like everybody. It's ridiculous that in the time that we're in, that actually the ability to market is so blunt an instrument that it doesn't curate what they have to what we need. Like, come on, we've got Alexa at home already. We can do this. So this company is tremendously important for this. And what I kind of loved about it when we were doing our diligence and digged in, and I thought, oh, this is so clever because the cashback is almost a Trojan horse. It's the thing that makes people want to play the game. And then when they start playing the game, they can never stop because what they get out the other side is so powerful. So I love this. So talk to us about that initial market implementation. And I really want to look at the numbers. So we're going to jump back in a moment and we're going to look at the team that you have today and we're going to look at the competition and we're going to look at the market size. But talk to us about that initial lift from where you are right now, how much you're raising right now, what type of revenues that you're doing right now, and talk to us about like how you build that lift to get yourself to a place where investors are thinking, he's got to Series A, we're safe, we're okay, and we get a really good uplift on the valuation.
Okay, understood. So I mean, so we kicked off last year around January. I would say really when money came in around April. That's really when we got a bit of capital to invest in marketing because it's a B2C to B2B2C. So at that point, we were at about 20 or 15K downloads on Google Play Store. And those are the number we raised the pre-seed of 500K with. which was participated by 3 pre-seed VCs and a whole string of friends and family, really business school and ex-Baineys.
Smart
So
people.
from that point to date, now we are 300K downloads on Google Play Store. So has been tremendous growth. Our active rate is about 35% of that is active, and our target is to move that to about 55%, and that's by the time we do Series A, we want to be at 55-60%, because technically we're giving back money. Hence, it should be at that level, especially once the value in the platform, as we get more brands in, as we get more FMCGs in, as we get more retailers in, then the value grows, active rate goes up. So
Very
really,
good.
and right now we're doing about 10K to 15K month on month. When we started, really was about less than 1K. So that's also growing. But as I said, it's a two-sided market. So we've been building the demand quite a bit, and that's where the 500K really went in, building that demand. Now, this year we switched into the B2B side, which is basically now we have the consumer. Hey, Colgate, why don't you join? Colgate actually is one of our frequent customers, and also Coke is also a frequent customers, and a whole bunch of local consumer good companies. Now that you have this base, why don't you come? And now it's only then when they run promos, pilots, and realize, oh wait, yeah, actually it's actually cheaper to do it this way, and that's why they come back. And the biggest benefit is after every promo, you get like a report on how it went, and eventually we are now piloting reselling the data and insights to Colgate and another company called Ajab. So next year will be big. And in terms of
I like that. I like that. I like when a statement starts with next year
yeah,
will be big. So how do you see it growing? If you've got up to 10K a month, which is fantastic, you're bringing in the B2B portion of it. Are you raising a little bit of money now?
yes, we are. So we are doing a seed round of $2 million.
Hmm.
And with that money, we want to hit 1 million in user base by end of 2023. We want to be at an ARR of $2.5 million by the end of that year,
Ooh,
which
that
will
is
give us
2,000. Listen, I don't need to be a Bain consultant to know that that is 2,500% growth. Come to
yeah.
Pappy.
We want to aim, we want to aim high, and we know that once you demonstrate growth, really you don't need to. Investment will come to you, right? And that's so. Let's work on the growth. Let's make sure that growth engine is working efficiently. And once we get that Series A funding, it's really expansion based on a playbook that we know has worked for Nairobi and Kenya. And if we move it to, say, South Africa, or if we move it to, say, Nigeria, then we know where to start, the buttons, the levers to pull, and that's how we scale. And in scaling, one last point on scaling is that scaling, we want it to be more B2B led, right? So if I work with Colgate here, I want to use that connection to get it to Colgate in Nigeria. Or if I work with
Mm.
P&G here, after they've seen and appreciated the value you're able to create here, it will be an easier pitch to another country. And they all work in one umbrella, Africa. They're quite connected. So that's that partnership. It's more, I'm building more like a regional partnership, as opposed to just looking at them in one country. Yeah.
Wonderful. And look, as all investors who are listening to this show know, that building a unicorn is a pretty simple math formula. It is a more difficult implementation, but the formula is relatively simple. You know, we have the cost of customer acquisition, the lifetime value of the client, we have like the amount of time it takes to close a company, and then we have like how many leads that we can put in the funnel to make sure that we have enough on the top level of the funnel so that we can get that conversion down in the bottom end. Like really they're the four main characteristics. And we know that we need to get a company on the other side up to $2-3 million a month in revenue. Now, Y Combinator many years ago had this very simple formula they brought out, which is that if a company starting at $20,000-$30,000 a month can do 200 to 300% growth for 4 to 5 years, you achieve that number. Like if anybody works it out, it's a pretty simple formula. So when you start talking about numbers like 2,500% growing from 10,000 a month, they are extra unusual, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Very, like if you hit those numbers, when you hit those numbers, there's no question in anybody's mind you're going to have a unicorn. Like it's almost a guarantee. So the only thing that people are going to be thinking right now is, oh, I don't know, Brian. Like, how do we know? Like, one thing is saying $250,000 a month, or actually, I'm sorry, $2.5 million for the whole year,
Yeah.
which is growing from like that $10,000 a month right now. But another thing is doing it. Like, how do we know that he can actually hit those numbers? So, talk to us a little bit about what that implementation looks like and what your team maybe looks like today and how much you have to grow your team and your sales and your marketing and everything to actually make a monumental jump from where you are now to where you're going to.
Understood. No, no, makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah. So of course, we need to grow the B2C side in tandem with the B2B. And our go-to-market strategy on the B2C side. So we started off with a lot of Google ads. So more online acquisition, Google ads and Facebook ads at the onset. As we continued looking at the quality of customers that we are getting, we got quite good at really optimizing that. And that will continue being about 30-40% of how we acquire customers. But one other bigger way that we've seen really work is really referrals, right? And especially bolting in quite good analytics on those referrals and finding out what type of people are able to get you 10 other quality people, those get you 20 other quality people, and so on and so forth. So referrals should take up about 40% of how we do the B2C side. And we've now started seeing a lot of organic growth that is coming in. I would say about 20%, and that will also continue growing as we add more people. And then the last one is partnerships that I alluded to earlier, which is basically with consumer good companies. And when we do partnership, when we run a promo with a consumer good company, we do share like marketing budget. You know what, promoters on your page, you promoters, co-promoters, we do co-promotions and so on and so forth. So as more partners come on board, we get more visibility, more marketing. So partnerships with retailers and FMCGs definitely take up the remaining part to get us to that 1 million. 1 million users. Of course, we need to invest more in terms of money in marketing and in those 4 channels. But now, having learned what we've learned, acquiring the 300K, and we can do it more efficiently and get more engaged, more would-be active customers. And that's how we envisage on getting to the 1 million. And that's a B2C angle. On the B2B, which is also closely linked to to the team, is that we've been doing the BD, really myself, Alan, going knocking on doors on FMCGs. Now we need to turn that into a real B2B machine of getting those leads and sales, getting longer contracts. Would get like quarterly contracts. Let's do them half yearly. Let's do them annually. Lock it in, you know, and start implementing as go on. So the B2B side is getting a good B2B sales team together. really just hit the ground running. It's classic B2B. And also using the insights that we are collecting to really sell. Like it's always awesome when you go into a meeting with the FMCG and like I'm telling them stuff they don't know, right? Like, because I have so much data that I'm collecting, and I'll be like, that region, I know overall you're doing so well, but like that demographic or that location, you're really doing decimally, right? And this competitor is creeping up, right? So it's those kind of using data to sell that will definitely get us there. And one very last one is that in Africa, uh, retail there's a big chunk that is informal, right? So we've been hitting up the formal piece, these supermarkets and so on, and hypermarkets and so on and so forth. There's a big chunk that is informal. We've also introduced a product to hit that market. It's called Mtani Retailer. And the objective is to also provide that value to the FMCGs. They're not able to market in that layer. They're not able to collect data. And this solution, which is also a mobile app, is able to help them do that.
I like that. You actually
Yeah.
touched on my last question, which is you've shown us why you are the person and how you've built the team to be able to do this. You've shown us what the product fit looks like and why it's entirely 100% perfect frictionless innovation, and it goes way beyond what people initially might think what you're building here. And then you've also shown us how you scale the product up and how you take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Just finish off, and we also want to get your details as well so people can contact you. Just your email address is fine, so investors can reach out to you and arrange meetings with you. But just share with us, maybe in the last 2 or 3 minutes, why is it that's going to make you the special entrepreneur, the special startup, special company that's going to win against all or any other competition that's out there in this space? And for investors that are trusting their money in you, how can you make them feel more comfortable? So finish us off with inspiration of a world that is led by cashback, with pride and joy, with investors all around being showered with money. Okay.
Brian, I'm not as as polished as you are, but really, if I was to take you back to the initial problem, right? People, especially now, people are looking to save money, right? Our target is middle to lower income people. They comprise, I would say, 80% of the whole continent, right? So majority of the people are there. They are looking to save money, right? And FMCGs are looking to sell more, right? So we need just an efficient solution there. And the market is massive. And when I say FMCG, I'm including even brands. The market is massive. So it's getting that startup that is properly led, has that technology to move that value efficiency between the two, and we believe we are that person, right? We started with the formal piece. The informal market is even bigger. They are not able to promote there. They are not able to collect data in that area. So it's a big untapped market. We have a solution that does that. We already at scale, quite a number of FMCG already on board. The consumers love us. We are actually, I didn't mention, we are top 10 every time as top shopping apps in Kenya. Right now, we are number 6, just above Carrefour. So people do, in fact, enjoy the service. We just need to build it up, add more value. And if I get an investor who understands the space, right, the consumer space, the data play, which the data play hasn't been explored as much in Africa, and it's massive, right? So somebody who understands that, who can see the opportunity, I'll be willing to work with them. And I'm quite flexible, especially people who have seen it elsewhere, especially investors who have invested in similar businesses that can sort of, hone in their skills, guide us to Series A like yourselves. Will be super interested to work with them. Yeah, and Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, in terms of contacts, my email is Simon Gigi, and I'll spell the last name. So it's Simon.Ngigi. So the last name is dot Ngigi at cashbackmobileapp.com.
Wonderful. Or you could just hit up Brian at expertdojo.com. I want to finish up with saying, Simon, thank you for allowing us to invest in your company. You rock. Your company rocks. What you're building is incredible. It speaks to what people want. I love that we're in on it. For all other investors, reach out to Simon. As always, do your own diligence, check your own work, and make sure this is right for you. We're speaking to you as a proud investor, not as someone on the sidelines saying, maybe you should look at this. We're saying, we looked at this, we invested, and we feel we're going to win. Simon, thanks for allowing us to be on the journey with you, buddy.
No, thank you for for making that leap with us, and we'll do you proud, Brad. Yeah.
I know, buddy. I know. Thank you, my friend. That's all right.